We did not talk about that safe. There is a safe in the White County Courthouse that no one can open. Like, they don't know what's in it. I don't know if it's money, if it's a body, what, but nobody can open that safe. Yeah. So we did get a few pictures of it. That's an interesting little tidbit. I hate that word, but that's the only thing to call it. All right, so Lisa was very upset.
I'm upset about this one.
She was very upset by that sign.
I asked, does it mean middle-aged women that like to hang out in cemeteries? And Judge Lisa Brown, who was very gracious to give me all kinds of information, she said that I could hang out in cemeteries after dark. So you can come with me, okay? In White County.
So, yeah, and you're probably wondering, why? Just why? But I'm going to just give you a little history, and I'll see if I can talk to my, Lisa and I went to high school together. And Sherry back there, she has she's back there, Sherry. Okay, I'm going to embarrass her. Say hi, Sherry. She's my best friend since childhood. Okay, so the three of us would go to cemeteries all the time in high school. When everybody else was partying and whatnot, we were going to cemeteries and then coming home and watching 49 cent movies from Hastings, and that was our high school. We were such good girls. But anyway, we really loved to go to different cemeteries. Mount Pisgah, we would always go to the end of that cemetery. We'd go to one down here. So we still kind of like to go and check them out. And I do a lot of photography and stuff in cemeteries to this day. And it's a little sad to see that sign. But what'd you say, that didn't apply to us? Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, so go ahead, Cadence. These were some weird photos. Go back to the weird photos. Yeah, these are a couple of weird photos that were on the B-roll when we went through the courthouse. I thought they were kind of crazy.
It means it's on it.
Yeah, maybe so. All right, so keep going. That's not mine. That must be one of yours.
Go back. So this is, sorry. Go back. So that's.
Okay, let's go back one more.
Okay.
Back. Right there.
Okay, yes, thank you, Cadence. Okay, so this is that Wilbur D. Mills building that was the original post office building. It's still there. It's beautiful, and they hold court in there still to this day, but that's the building that they say does have some activity.
Yeah, I got called for jury duty there once.
Did you smell pipe tobacco?
No.
Okay. But yeah, so smoking goods. There you go.
Okay. All right. So okay, let's go back one. Or go forward one. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to make mine kind of quick because I didn't know how long Lisa's was going to be. So, and I'm a little out of practice. I stopped doing regular podcasts in, late November? December, yes, because I am a full-time doctoral student. I'm a full-time professor. I have 3 kids, 2 teenagers, and a 2-year-old. And so I meet myself coming and going, but I do love the podcast, and I was very, very happy and excited that Lisa wanted to keep going with it. She's doing a great job, and I was very thrilled that she invited me to be part of this and, just kind of share with you guys some of the things I learned. We had a crazy year, and if you've been keeping up with us on social media, you've seen that crazy year. We've been all over the state. We've been all the way to Falk. We've done some research on the Falk monster. We've all been all the way up to the top of the state where we found the craziest cemetery you've ever seen in your life. And we found that one by mistake, actually.
Well, we were there to look at Jamie.
We were there to look at the Jamie Ward grave, and we ended up finding this old cemetery that there's not another one like it in Arkansas. The closest you can find are the home graves in Tennessee, and we have all that on our website. But we've just made these amazing discoveries throughout the state of Arkansas, because Arkansas, it turns out, is the state that keeps on giving. Weirdness it abounds in Arkansas. And when we first started, we had one little board at my house. We had a bunch of little note cards, and we sat at the table while my kids were all screaming around us, because that's how it is in my house. And we were writing things on the little note cards. and then sticking them onto the board of things we wanted to do. And I tell you, we got everything on that board done, and then some. There's just so much. We live in an amazing state, but it's a really weird one, let me tell you. So, excuse me guys, I'm just getting over being sick, so. Alright, so my specialty area is folklore, and after I finish my doctoral degree, I'm actually going into folklore studies. I have met with some prominent folklorists at state, Dr. Gregory Henson, and I'm going to be working with them and learning as much as I can about folklore here in our great state, especially the Delta area and Central Arkansas area. I will be speaking at the Delta Symposium in April about Aunt Caroline. Does anybody remember that one that I did, Aunt Caroline in Newport? She was the seer of Newport. Okay, I'll be doing a whole thing on her later on. So folklore is kind of my bag, right? That's kind of what I love to do. And I love urban legends as well. And I love to look at where they started and their progression over time. And if I get too teachery, y'all tell me, okay? Because that's what I do for a living. But folklore is something that every generation has its own, right? Every geographical region has its own folklore. And I am very interested in the folklore here in White County. And I'm very interested in just Arkansas in general folklore. So, the first one, Cadence, if you will. Cadence. Cadence, are you awake? Cadence, okay. The first one is the Headless Woman of Flat Creek, and this is in Judsonia, Arkansas. And we did talk about this for a very small period of time during one of our folklore episodes. Now, it's very interesting. Now, my buddy Shelly back there is the one that told me about it. And if there's anyone that loves ghosts more than me, it's her. She used to scare the bejesus out of me on a regular basis when we were 10. She made me watch movies I probably shouldn't have seen, like Pet Sematary, Freddy Krueger, you name it, I had to watch it at her house. So, we love to get scared. So, in fact, I think we might play Bloody Mary a couple times when we were 12. We always love to get scared. So we got a driver's license, we started going and doing all these kinds of things. So she found this haunted spot that she always heard about called the Headless Woman Bridge, is I think how she said it, what she said it's called. There we go. Headless Lady Bridge, sorry. Has anyone ever been here? Does anybody know where this is? Okay, cool. Alright, so this is the Headless Lady Bridge. It's a real place. Huh? We did, yeah. Sherry and I went first, I don't remember when it was, like last spring, and I took these amazing photos there. Go ahead and go to the next one. This is the original bridge. I'm sure there's other photos somewhere, but this is the only one that we can find that the Historical Society has. And of course, this is what the area looks like now. So, just basically the story, and I have notes both on my phone and on here. But the story is a couple was riding over the bridge, and they had a white horse and a gray horse that was carrying the buggy. They had an accident. It doesn't tell exactly what happened with the accident. But if anybody have a newspapers.com subscription in here? Nobody? Have an ancestry. Who has an ancestry? Okay, if you want to do what we do, you need an ancestry account, and you also need a newspapers.com account, because that's where I find the majority of my research. And if you go to newspapers.com and put in certain date, like late 1800s to early 1900s, and put in buggy crash or buggy accidents, you'll get a ton of them. Those used to happen all the time. Buggy accidents happened a lot. So this was a buggy accident. Apparently, everybody died except for the one white horse which got loose. And when they found the bodies, the woman's head was missing, and they never found the head. Now, this is actually a common trope in folklore and literature. The headless, when you think of the headless horseman, yeah, which was, of course, something, from northeast, way far away from here, but that's kind of a very common trope, because people think of that as very horrendous, very devastating, and somebody loses their head. So apparently, according to legend, she lost her head. They never found it. And at certain times during the night, you can go down there and you can see this lady washing her feet. I guess she can't wash her face, but she's washing her feet in the creek. And you can see her out there doing that. So, and also you can see the horse sometimes, you know, the white horse that escaped. So, yeah. But people have reported this for years. And actually, and I don't know this man, but the first person to write about this was Paul E. Miller, who was one of our local historians, and he did a story on this for the White County Historical Society. And he said that this was a well-documented case, and also there was a rumor of a man who saw all of this go on, saw the ghosts, saw the things, and that same man was dead within like 48 hours, just to add a layer of craziness to it.
Kind of like The Ring.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like The Ring, right? So, and you can read all about this. This was in the newspaper. He did an interview with Democrat Gazette about it. But, yeah, so I don't really get why she's washing her feet. And some people say she's singing, which would be really hard to do without a head. So I don't get that part either. Here, go ahead. Go ahead, sweetie. All right. It's beautiful down there. It really is. But, you know, when you're looking at folklore and things like that, it really, you know, a lot of these stories do end up being the same. They just kind of change with the geographical location, which is what I really think this one is.
So you don't think it happened?
I think it's a version of La Llorona. Okay, does anybody know what La Llorona is? Okay, so La Llorona is a pretty famous piece of lore where a woman, and it's always the same, you know, the woman loses her children, the woman dies a horrific death, she can still be seen, you know, afterwards. There's actually several La Llorona variations in the state of Arkansas. One is called Mama Lou, and I think Mama Lou's in central Arkansas. That's one variation of it. So, but they have La Llorona, you know, stories all over the country, all over the world, actually. So it's not that I don't believe in ghosts. I just love to see the progression of these tales and see how they change from place to place. All right, so go ahead. What do we got? Oh, one more picture. So, okay, so my other legend that I wanted to talk about, I kind of wanted to put a rest to this one. When we first started our podcast, I was just really obsessed with this statue. And this is in the Evergreen Cemetery in Judsonia. Anybody ever been to this one? Okay, it's a beautiful cemetery. I got family buried there. Travis, not our side, is my other side. So, but I got lots of family buried there. Actually, we're really near to this statue. And the legend was always that this girl that is buried here died a very tragic death, that she was burned to death. But there was variations of how she died, where she died, all of those kinds of things. But the quote-unquote ghost story is, at night, her eyes will glow red. If you go down there to Judsonia, and at night, which apparently is against the law, so nobody else can go down there. But if you look, yeah, but if you look under there, under her eyes will glow red. Now, Sherry and I went down there as well, and we didn't see any glowing red eyes or any of that. So, but I was very interested in this particular story, and I did track down the actual newspaper article regarding her death, and it was very tragic. She did not die in Judsonia. She actually was a college student, and she died in her dorm in Henson. She lived with some other girls. She was in her 4th year. She had just gotten ready to go for the day. She was waiting on her roommates, and her dress caught fire from the stove in the middle of the room. And it caught fire very quickly, and she burned to death. You know, it was very tragic.
What year was that?
You would say that. I got it right. I got the article right here. 1914, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 1914, November 25th, 1914, yes. So she wasn't very old at all. But then her parents went from Judsonia down to Henderson and picked her up and brought her back here. And she was buried out here in Evergreen Cemetery. And so that was her final resting place. So, the stories about it happening in the big house in Judsonia. Would you go to the next slide, please? That's the big house in Judsonia. I don't know who owns it now. A friend of mine, Peggy, used to own it. But, and she heard lots of crazy stories when she bought it about the house, about things in the house. Now, whether they're true or not, I don't know. But that was where Laura Lee lived. Of course,
And the house survived.
yeah, it was one of the only structures to actually survive that Judsonia tornado. So, it's probably, it is the biggest house in Judsonia, probably one of the most historic houses in Judsonia. So, but yeah. That is a ghost story that we had done before that I kind of wanted to put kind of a rest to, because we kind of left it on a question mark last time we had it. So, but here in White County, there are so many different things that are, I think, very interesting to research and look at. And, since we've been doing this, I have learned so much about, my home state, my home county, and, we just kind of appreciate you guys kind of coming along for the ride. Here, go to the next slide for me. All right. Is that the last one?
It may get into Rialto. So this is the beautiful courthouse.
Yeah.
Oh, here's some of our
Oh, yes. Okay, so I designed these shirts for us at the beginning of the last year, and then Lisa had them all made, thanks to a wonderful donor that shall remain nameless. But we have people wearing them all over the place, and it's just a real honor, and I'm just so happy that
so many people, so many love.
Yeah, I know.
Many.
Yeah, so we're just very grateful. Yeah. But that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. So that was awesome. Love it. I'm going to do the tornado because I like tornadoes. We're going to finish out real quick. So you are in the Rialto. This is what the Rialto looked like originally when it was built, okay? So thank you so much, Stephen, for giving me, he has done so much history work on the Rialto, so it's just awesome. But the Rialto, I think I went too far, sorry. So just a little tidbit about the Rialto. So the original frame was built, they broke ground, it was either 1901 or 1908, okay? So early 1900s, they broke ground and built a theater, right here. But the theater that they built was super tiny. The address was 1010B. So imagine if this place was split down the middle. That's how tiny it was. I don't know. So it had A and B. So it was tiny, and and so it was here. It was on this corner, but it was really, really tiny. And the theater was called the Grand Theater, so it wasn't called the Rialto at that time. Okay, so it operated very small. It was torn down in 1923, and then they rebuilt it, and they rebuilt it to this size. Okay, so this building has been here since 1923, and it's still here, and that's really old. Okay, so real quick, so around 1928 they kind of opened. The movies, quote unquote, were a huge event, and it wasn't like going to the movies today. Has anyone seen the 1980s Annie? That's my favorite movie from.
You want to know the first movie I saw here?
What?
Follow That Bird.
What's that?
It was a Sesame Street movie. Follow That Bird. I remember the picture being out there in the market.
What are you talking about?
That's the first movie I ever saw here.
I thought you were going to say Annie. Anyway.
No, I remember our whole third grade class came here to see The Little Mermaid. You remember that, Sherry? The entire third grade came down here to see The Little Mermaid.
You were cracking me up. Well, back in the day, back here, so they do have the stage. We could not get up here. I mean, this is like legit. This was like a pit, so this was the pit. This is where the orchestra was. Like, we're talking pre-CDs, pre-tapes, whatever else you had, records. Okay, so it was like a show, and it wasn't just a movie. They didn't just show you a movie. They played you like a newsreel. Like, this is where you came for your news, your weather, whatever. Like, it was a whole production. Like, you see in Annie, when Annie goes to the movies for the very first time, Daddy Warbucks takes her, and like, it's like ladies dancing. I mean, it's a whole show. So they had actors up here, they had dancers, like, seriously, and they all signed. Like, back there's like a basement, and they like signed it. Anyway, it's really cool. I got like a whole tour of the place. So thank you, Stephen. But anyway, so this was a big production. It was called the Grand Theater, and we talked about Daddy Warbucks. So in the early 1900s, or in the 1920s, so a movie group actually owned the theater, but a Kenneth King actually managed it, and he would put out these, I mean, we're talking big to-dos. I mean, again, it's more than just a movie. It is like fancy. It was like a big deal to go to movies. So, anywho, when they did reopen, like in 1928, they did call the movies, they switched from the Grand. The Grand actually moved. So the Grand Theater kept going, but it moved. But they opened this theater as the Rialto. And they named it the Rialto after the actual Broadway theater in New York City.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. So the real Rialto was opened in New York City in 1916. Okay? So the meaning of Rialto is an Italian word called theater district. So that's why they called it Rialto. Interesting. And that was it does say in 1939, the Rialto received a beautiful, streamlined, modern style facelift with like the neon lights out there. So it's very 1940s, and it still is like that today. Throughout the years, the Rialto has gone through many changes. In 1953, we did get air conditioning put in. Before that, basically they had it was almost like water, like cooling water. Yeah, kind of blown on. I mean, it's kind of like cold water blown on. That was kind of what they used.
And this one right here, this is 99, because you can see this right here, it says my best friend's wedding. Right there.
Oh my goodness, yes. I love that. Okay, so yay, 1999, the year we graduated.
Yes.
Or the year you graduated. I was 9. Let's see. So in 1953, it got air conditioning up in here, but it was cool air blowing in the 30s. So a lot of people came. I mean, it's hot. It's Arkansas. They came in here to get cool. So Mr. Dwayne actually remembered a fun little thing. When he was about 11, the price to come to the movies was 25 cents. But if you tell them that you're 12, and he did because it was his birthday, they charged him 50 cents. Can you believe it? So 50 cents, guys. And then as an adult, I guess you were an adult at 12, and then 25 cents for a kid. And this was about 1966-ish. So, yeah, I like those prices. Okay, the Rialto did go through many ownership hands. In the 1990s, a man named Victor Weber was running the theater.
Oh, I remember him. He was so sweet.
He loved the theater business. He was the person that you saw selling the tickets. Victor Weber was the face of this Rialto. It was actually owned by the Lytle family, but then the Lytle family did donate the theater to the city. So the City of Searcy does own the theater, and they also own Oak Grove Cemetery. In the past 10 years or so, the city has done an amazing job, and they worked very closely with Amy Burton, who's with the Main Street program, for grant money. So the whole town of Searcy is part of that Main Street program, and a lot of our downtown area, our downtown businesses, have gotten grants, and our downtown looks amazing. So it is really nice. So this is a historic gem. We did get the Main Street program. They did federal grant and then fundraising. So there's tons of renovations. Of course, this is a historical building. They have to be very careful, but they have like all new seating. Remember the blue seats? They're like blue seats, and they were like those seats like at a maybe like that were like plasticky. Weren't they plasticky and blue back in the day? I don't know. Anyway, these are brand new seats, brand new screen, brand new lights outside. I mean, it's just awesome. But they have kept it to what it looked like in the 40s, okay? So they've been very great about that. So Stephen Gifford with the City of Searcy, of course, was kind enough to give me a tour. I got to go in the basement. It was super creepy. It was awesome. And he also shared some stories with me that he's heard through, the grapevine and employees. So this building, just some little tidbits. So, I know you love that word. So, some employees here, again, the laughter of small children. Why is it always that? Maybe they're coming from the courthouse. I don't know. They're sharing these children. There are sometimes like just dark figures, shadows seen in this building, There's also noises like doors shutting, opening when they shouldn't be. Just a lot of creepy vibes going on. I don't know if it's maybe the spirits of the gallows that were here, the people, or maybe the morgue situation across the street in the 50s. I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe. What do you think?
They like coming to watch something.
No, I agree. She said they're coming to watch. They're probably coming to watch Hit Pig that played earlier. It was like a Hit Pig. That's what I understood. So
Yeah, I've followed a lot of acts in my life, but never a hit pig.
You should be so lucky. So we will open up the floor for any questions. We are done. Is this place haunted? Yes. Is the courthouse haunted? Yes. Is Leslie's Jewelers haunted? Yes. I mean, it has to be. Poor Mrs. Frazier. Like, tell that story. Please share that, because I had no clue. I did read Dr. Muncie's whole book, and it was very interesting. I think that was my favorite story from it. But anyway, so any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Just ready to go home? Get some Taco Bell? Or is that just me? I forgot to eat dinner. This is my cheat day, so I'm going to get Taco Bell. I'm going to get 4th meal.
I was just wondering, the cemetery that you guys were talking about earlier, is
The okra?
Is that the one going for Snowball?
Okay, the one that we were talking about, it's the Canaan Cemetery in Marshall, outside of Marshall. It's actually, was it called Cadence, Arkansas?
It's Canaan. Well,
It's outside of Marshall, like 3 miles.
it's the Canaan area, and it's the Canaan Cemetery. So yeah.
It's not like you turn off the one for Snowball?
Yeah, I mean, you turn off the main road like you're going to Branson and go left and go toward Canaan. I mean, yeah.
We'll send you the coordinates, but it was, we specifically went there because we were working on the Jamie Ward episodes, and that's where she was buried. And so,
Yeah, and we look around and there's these they're just mounds. It was the weirdest graves I'd ever seen in my
I
life.
was wondering, because there's one.
There's another one?
If you take that turn going toward Snowball,
okay.
there's a cemetery out that way, and they actually have, like, concrete, it's that slab over the top, and they have broken open some of the slabs.
See, that sounds very much like this.
Yeah, Lisa swore up and down she could see in the little cracks of the
I
rocks.
said see bones. And
Yeah.
that little dog out there, what was his name? The caretaker was out there, and had this little dog. What was the little dog's name?
Oh, I don't remember, but I do know
I
that.
think it was named Tidbit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I do know that. I did some research on it, and there's not another one like it in our region besides the Cone graves in Tennessee. If anybody knows about those. So.
Dating back to the
1800s.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds interesting.
We did research the family actually, and we did an episode on the people that are buried in the.
Yeah, you did off
graves.
the Canaan Cemetery.
Yeah, I did one on the Canaan Cemetery. I'm buried there.
You're
So it's
send me
going towards Snowball.
that. I know you gave me a haunted house.
I gave you a house in Rosebud.
Yes.
The one that nobody will buy.
So,
Can anybody invest with me for a haunted house in Rosebud? Meryl turned my thumbs off.
ooh, I found some really creepy stuff while I was researching yesterday for you. Okay, so, I think,
Any other questions?
any other questions?
Anybody have questions, or you just wanna?
Hey, where's the wall, it's the courthouse came out, where's that located?
It says third floor, right? Second floor. The vault that won't open?
No.
Oh, I thought she meant the safe that won't
I thought
open.
you were talking about the private vault that they opened. The same. Yeah, it is on the third floor. It is on the third floor on this, what is that? The north wing.
And no one knows what's in it.
Nobody, they did, okay, this is the story. They had a locksmith come in that said that he would open it, but his condition was that he would not allow anyone in the room with him when he opened it. And they were like, no. They do think it is empty. They think what happened was, who was in there? Was it there were some offices. They do think that they accidentally shut the door, like took everything out and shut the door. And then nobody knows how to open it. That's what they think.
Yeah, so if you know a good locksmith.
But if you want to know what I think that this is Fraser. Is Miss Fraser in there? Probably. Are you cold?
It got a little chilly.
I am burning up. Okay. Anything else? Hey, we should go up there. I'm in. Okay.
I'm gonna go to this side after
You
this side.
need my mortgage girls. I was talking to Daryl the other day and I go, oh my coworkers, and he's like, you don't work. That's like someone saying I'm in my 40s. And I'm in my 30s. And I'm eating Taco Bell after this. Just saying.
Well, if there's no more questions.
Any more questions? Any more questions? Everybody's done.